allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome you on behalf of the Stellenbosch Business School Executive Education, also formerly known as the USB Ed. Very, very welcome to our Young Minds information session. The session this afternoon is aimed just to provide prospective participants and maybe their caregivers and parents with some information to assist them in making a decision with regards to our program, which is commonly known as the Young Minds program. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, from our side, from the USB Ed staff side, let's give our audience and our visitors today a wonderful round of applause, and you can show them how you can do it in the reactions, or you can just quickly give a clap. I like to go with this clap for people and say, well done on joining this afternoon. My name is Kevin Henderson. You would see that there's an agenda on the screen right now. Part of my job was to welcome you, and I'm also going to introduce our team very shortly. Then I'll be talking to you around what does this program entail, to provide you with an overview of that. Then after that, we're going to have our LPF, the acronym or the abbreviation stands for the Learning Process Facilitator, Marc-Andre Daniels, to share something around the program in terms of life coaching and the psychometric profiling we're doing, as well as the roles and responsibilities around job shadowing. After that, our director, Ms. 𝗲𝗂𝗃𝗃, will talk to us around the program and how we're going to roll out the program in 2023, also highlighting some practicalities that we would like prospective participants to be aware of. And then lastly, we're going to have some time for FAQ that Claire will also talk you through. After that, we'll hand over to our wonderful marketing director. That's the lady that got the energy going. You can see that she's from marketing. Kerry will talk to us around the opportunity with Capitec Bank. She will provide more aspects around that. And then we end the afternoon. Good afternoon. And we're ending the afternoon. We're ending the afternoon later with some burning questions that our team will respond to. On that note, allow me to introduce our dream team. You will see them on the screen as well, and these will be the people with a wonderful background around the Young Minds. And very importantly, Ms. Samantha Abrams, who is our program manager. Samantha has the responsibility for almost all the admin around the program. It's a person that you're going to be dealing with quite a lot. You will get correspondence from her later on. Also, when you enroll to the program, she will be of assistance in that regard. However, we also have the wonderful Charmaine Mitchell, who is our client relations officer, and she's the person that will contact you, provide you with information, and at the end of the program, I'll provide you with a contact detail as well, because should you have any further questions, it might be a great idea to drop Charmaine an email or even just contact her on the contact detail provided in order to get more information. And then right in the center, the glue of our team, we have Ms. 𝗲𝗂𝗃𝗃, who is our channel director. Claire holds the position as director for open enrollment, and the Young Minds program is within our particular portfolio. And then myself, Kevin, who I'm responsible for designing the program, and that's why my title says Proposal and Design Specialist. And I have been involved with the program, the Young Minds program, both as designer, but in the past also as a faculty member. And then last but not least, Mr. Marc-Andre Daniels, who is the learning process facilitator. And as mentioned, I'll say a little bit more around the role of the learning process facilitator as we progress through this afternoon. On that note, then, allow me to move along. And I would like to quote Abdul Kalam that says, the youth need to be enabled to become job generators from job seekers. We in South Africa are extremely aware of the challenges that we have with unemployment, etc. So we have a myriad of social problems and challenges. One of them is the unemployment rate. What Kalam is saying to us is that we need to help our young people to shift out their minds from looking for a job to generating a job. The Young Minds program is one of those initiatives amongst many that different organizations and institutions have in South Africa, trying to assist in that regard. So with your permission, allow me then to say that the aim of the Young Minds program is as follows. It is a structured personal development program through which a participant would have the opportunity to get to know themselves better, whilst at the same time exploring the real world of work, and they will use their own talents and an opportunity to match their talents and identify opportunities where they can match those talents with the opportunity to either generate an income for themselves. In other words, we're looking at developing an entrepreneurial thinking methodology with our young people. Now, that doesn't mean that we exclude people who want to follow a career in corporate, etc., but we help people, our young people, just to sort of find a structured method and way of latching onto what am I good at, what is my talent, and how can I utilize my talent to generate a living and create a living for myself and for my family. Now, there are three key themes within the Young Minds program, and the three themes that we utilize is entrepreneurial thinking, business management, and personal mastery. So what we do with this is our approach is to have an holistic developmental approach by looking at developing entrepreneurial thinking methodologies with young people, providing them with some business management skills, knowledge, and even aptitudes, whilst at the same time developing the whole person from a personal mastery perspective. One of the things that I often look at is a lot of people are trying to save the world, but they're struggling to conquer themselves. And so when we look at the personal mastery element of this, we're looking at a method, a way in which the person will get a hold of themselves. And then through that, and entrepreneurial thinking and the skills from business management are then able to become fully functioning and well-adjusted members of our society and our community. We do present our program through a dual pathway or teaching approach, which reflects on there will be some theory presented and there will also be some practical applications. The practical application will run right through our entire program, whilst the theory parts are presented for about 3 days per week during our program. And this entails where there is contact sessions, in other words, where there's a facilitated module, and I will go into those modules just now. So with regards to the modules that we offer on the Young Minds program, the list that we have up here is by no means exhaustive, but I want to emphasize this. These are the modules that will be facilitated through contact sessions within the classroom, where there's a facilitator as well as the learning process facilitator as well. So the modules entail financial management. Our participants become a little bit more aware of how do you determine the need in order for you to develop a business, which speaks to the marketing aspect of things, how to work with people and understand the different dynamics when we are working within a team. We give our young people an overview of economics and understanding of what the world out there entails when it comes to the economy of a country, but more in particular, how the economy impacts on our day-to-day activity as well. We also know that it's very difficult for our young people because a lot of the stuff that we do is will be things that they're not that familiar with. So their thinking needs to be impacted a little bit as well. So we do a model on thinking and dealing with your own paradigms. For many parents, this is important. A lot of our young people come onto our program and they are a little bit hesitant and a little bit unsure around which direction should I take into. And so we ensure that there is career planning as well as personal branding as modules that are facilitated on the program. This has as its aim to assist young people to become clearer, get a greater sense of direction in terms of their future careers as well. As a psychologist, I often am confronted with young people when they're 18 years, and I often tell parents, an 18-year-old, unfortunately, and young people who are on the call right now, please forgive me if I'm going to say this, an 18-year-old just doesn't know themselves yet. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. It's just, you just haven't lived enough. And so it's quite difficult for young people to exactly know at the end of matric, what am I going to do with my entire life? And so that career plan, yes.
Kevin, I'm just saying some 40-year-olds don't know.
Exactly, Kiri, exactly. And so this aims to help people. So there's nothing wrong with you if you say, oh, I'm 18, I'm done with matric. I have no clue about what it is. And that's a process where we will give input, but at the same time, exploration, and Mark will talk to you later on around the coaching that will help you to achieve a greater sense of direction. We also focus on the working of the brain, understanding, and that through neuro leadership, understanding what happens when we feel threatened, why it is that our ability to think, for example, is impacted negatively when we are feeling threatened, and what strategies you can develop in overcoming that as well. We look at the entrepreneurial process. We help the young people with some presentation skills. And then at the end of the day, we also look at operations, how to plan, how to manage a project. And the lovely thing about the ops particular module, they also actually embark on what we call a business game or business simulation, where the participants are given certain tasks. It's an online game that they play, but it's like real business decisions that they have to make. And these decisions have impacts on their little business that they're running, even though it's in a safe space where they lose the money, but they don't really lose the money. But that's one way that we're trying to get them a true sense of what it means to run a business, whether it's you're working in a corporate or whether you're going to be an entrepreneur, the principles remain the same. Having said that, I know that, and I've mentioned earlier on, that we also have the practical stream. And like I've mentioned earlier on, the practical stream will happen simultaneously as we do these different modules on the program as well. I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Mark, who will take us further from here. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for giving us that tantalizing look into some of the modules. They all sound very, very interesting, and it's going to be my job as LPF to draw all of those learnings together so that it makes sense in a bigger picture. So I'm Mark Andre. I'll be the LPF, which is the learning process facilitator, the person that takes you through the learning process of putting all this information together, deconstructing it, making sense of it, and then bringing it together in a way that makes sense to you and applying it also. So I'll be guiding you throughout the program as a kind of a coach or mentor. And I wanted to start with this high-ended quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher, who said, the shortest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. Let me tell you, participants, right from the start, we intend to corrupt you, to corrupt your thinking in a positive way, to think differently. Because an entrepreneur is someone who thinks differently, sees an opportunity, seizes it, and puts it to practice. And this is what we want to do for you, is for you to start thinking differently about the world around you, and especially about your skills and what talents you have to offer. Okay, so that is our purpose. Now, how do we do this? We do this, thank you, by starting off with taking this as a reflective program. So I'm not just going to be learning things and doing the theory, as Kevin said, and doing my assignments, but all the way through, I'm going to be thinking about what have I learned? I'm going to be reflecting on what does this mean to me, and how do I use this information that I'm getting? And thirdly, how will it impact on my behavior and my life context? This is very much also a personal course, so that it's not just a one-size-fits-all program. I take the learnings, I bring it to my own life context. I think about what am I learning and how does it apply to me, and how can I use it to improve my life, to improve my ideas that I have at there, and to put my ideas into practice. So very much we'll be doing reflection all the way along and thinking back and following our own growth as we work through the program. All right, then what is included in this program? So yes, there are assessments. Like, it is an academic program, so there are assignments that you're going to have to do to get a percentage, and there is a passing grade. We do expect you to reach at least some level of competence. But those assessments for the modules are also complemented by other forms of assessments that will not add towards a passing grade. These are an assessment of my own strengths and my talents and my weaknesses even, so that I get to know myself as well. So in the behavioral part, we will look at the Gallup Strength Finder. So we will do a wonderful exercise in which I find out, what are my strengths? What am I good at? And then I find out, how is my personality shaped? This gives us a sense of, I have a talent for this or that or the other, and I can start exploring those talents. So it gives you a starting point on what am I good at, but also what areas do I need to develop within this program and within this team, and where will the growth be that I will go through during this program. All right. Part of that, we're not just going to put you out there and say, there's all the knowledge, now go and reflect and think about it. No, you will have, and this to me is probably the most exciting part of this program, is that you will have a life coach. There's no other university in which you do a business course or a business management course in which you get free, as part of this program, a life coach that you can link up to 5 sessions you have with a professional life coach, that you can sit and start working through specific issues. You can set goals with your life coach. You can look at your weak areas that you've learned in your personality assessment or your behavioral assessment. I'm not good at public speaking. I want to practice that. I want to sound more confident. So we work through issues with the life coach. And with the 5 sessions, as we work through the program, it does not have to simply be restricted to, I have a difficulty with this assignment. No, it's about your personal development and your personal growth. I check in as LPF as well with you to see how you are developing and how you're growing. And you might not see this growth and development, but when you get to the end of the program and you do a reflection back, remember I said this is about reflection. When you reflect back, you will be amazed to see how much you have grown simply by going through the program and by completing the exercises in this program. And the life coach will be there to guide you throughout the program. So that's a wonderful aspect of the growth part of this program. You will then compile a life plan. So from step 1, you will do some kind of life journal in which you say, this is where I am at now. This is where I'm at. This is where my headspace is at. These are my talents. These are my interests. I don't know what I'm going to do, or I do know what I'm going to do, but this is where I'm at. Then we work through the modules. You sit and you go through with your life coach, and you go through your behavioral and your personality assessments. By the end of the program, you will have had 5 opportunities to present yourself and that growth. So we will structure you on thinking about certain aspects of your growth, and you have to put it into a little presentation. And you will work through these presentations where we will look at your authenticity, your vulnerability, your reflection, your self-awareness and your self-regulation, how your thinking is changing, and also developing your career plan and your entrepreneurial profile. Am I thinking of a business idea? How do I develop that idea? You will get 5 opportunities to present this and to change this, to round it off, to chisel at it, and to panel beat it a little, until in the end you're able to sell yourself and say, this is who I am, confidently, competently, I know where I'm going. That's the wonderful part of this. So that's the life plan part of the program. And then to apply all of this knowledge. Now it's wonderful to have all of this knowledge. What do I do with it? Do I now have to wait until I go and work 2 years from now? No. Part of the program, we have a job shadowing program. in which we explore the world of work and business, where you can go and apply these knowledges or test them out and see, do they really make sense? Is this how the world really works from what I've learned in my theory? I must point out that this is at your own initiative. So you will go and choose a business, whether it's your family business or a business that a family member works in, or a business that you've just always been interested into seeing how does it work in this business. We have two. One of it will be in an NGO and an NPO, where you will volunteer also for a number of hours in that NGO or NPO or community-based organization to get exposure to the operations, and it will be tied to an assignment. So you go in with the theoretical knowledge of this is how an organization works. Let me see if it works in practice. And if it doesn't, I'm able to feed back to the organization and give them some kind of constructive feedback on how they can improve their operations, because I've learned in my module on business operations how to run a business efficiently. So you become almost like a bit of an expert, a consultant to that organization, and that is a wonderful empowerment tool to have and to offer the NGO. But we will also have conversations with entrepreneurs, people who've started their own businesses, and even people who've been through this program and who've since started their own business, launched their own business, to find out from them, what are the challenges? How good is it? How well did this program fit into your thinking, into starting up your own business? And we encourage you then to go into business, the real business world, to see and to analyze and to apply the knowledges that you've had. Now, it does not mean that we create jobs for you or that we find a job for you. It simply means we open up that door for you to go into a business with an open mind, with a business mindset and mind frame, so that you get to understand the world of business. You choose where you want to end up, but you will go in empowered with the knowledge to understand how business works. All right, that's the exciting part of it. Okay, I'll then hand over to my next colleague who will take you through the actual run off of the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was fantastic. You're so passionate about the Young Minds program. So yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. If I may just apologize before the time, I'm just going to put off my camera. Only reason for that is I found just a bit earlier that my Wi-Fi is a little bit unstable, and I know this is quite an important 2 slides for many parents as well. So my apologies for that. That we'll be using for this year, for 2023. So as you can see up on the screen now, our first semester will be fully face-to-face, and our second semester would then be remote via the Zoom platform. As we kick off the Young Minds program, we will start with the parent orientation session. This will be via our Zoom platform on the 2nd of March. There's even a time in there, and all the parents would receive that link. And that's having the conversation with our LPF's head of learning, just to basically give you all the information or any questions you might ask. Then just moving on, we will then launch our program. The first week of orientation will then run from our orientation week will run from the 7th to the 10th of March, based at our Stellenbosch University campus in Stellenbosch, and then move on right up to the 31st of March. We will then go into recess. I just want to inform you the recess will be the exact same as Stellenbosch University. Main campus, we'll then have recess from the 3rd to the 10th of April. We'll then move into our second learning period, which will be from the 11th to the 28th of June. That'll also be at our Stellenbosch University campus. And then our second recess will be from the 29th of June to the 21st of July. And that's after that, we'll kick into our third learning period, and that'll be via our Zoom platform, remote learning. And then we move into our last recess for the year, which will be 11 to 15 September, and then move into our learning period 4, which runs actually from the 8th of September right up to the 3rd of November, which will be that final week. And then their final presentations will be from the 6th to the 10th of November. All right, you will receive all this dates as well, so not to worry too much about the dates. Just some frequently asked questions. I thought we would just put some questions up because these are quite of the questions that come through continuously. There's no specific 12 subjects required for you to apply for the Young Minds program. That's just quite important to note. There's a minimum average of for your midterm and then your final grade 12 results that will qualify you for a place on the Young Minds program. So as I mentioned earlier, there will be the face-to-face component of the first semester, and then the second semester would then be, sorry, my apologies. First semester will be face-to-face, second semester will be either remote, our learning site. This is compulsory to attend, but also to note that the participants or the students can stay on campus still for the second semester, even though it's remote. So there'll be no credit exemption towards any Stellenbosch University undergrad degrees. And just the fees for 2023 would be 54,200. This is excluding VAT. Just a point to note that we do have a Capitec opportunity, and our marketing director, Kerry, as seen earlier, will explain to you just when I'm done here. Then just also to mention, not included in the fees would obviously be travel, private accommodation in the reses, your laptop device or any necessary software, your Wi-Fi and data during your remote learning semester. The data requirements roughly would be about to be enough sufficient for about 300 remote learning hours minimum. Right, and there will be time right at the end just to also ask some questions, and myself and the team would love to answer it. I'm just going to hand over to our marketing director, Kerry.
Thanks, Claire. So we are seeing your questions come through in the chat, and we will go through them all. And we can always bring the schedules up again. So, please rest assured that we will address all the questions. I just wanted to quickly talk you through this opportunity for credit for education that we have with Capitec. So it's a specific agreement that we have in place with them, and it has to be accessed via our website. So there's a specific code that USBED has to access this opportunity, and basically it speaks to a student loan for funding this program. So it is up to 250,000 Rand, but this program is only 54 and a bit. So that's what the loan will be for. It won't be a car and an extra few other things. It'll only be for the value of the course, I'm afraid. And it is a repayment term of up to 84 months. So obviously with Young Minds, our participants are generally minors in terms of being under the age of 21. And so parents would, or guardians would apply for this, and then it would be allocated to your child, or your I can't think of the word for guardian, sorry. You know what I mean. So the actual individual young person cannot apply for the loan. It would have to be applied for by the adult. And that's really, it's a very simple process. There's a link on our website, and we do have under the menu button, you can go and investigate how much you would qualify for with the various factors. The loan is done directly via Capitec. So USBED has nothing to do with the value of the loan and the approval of the loan. But it is very, very quick and easy. So if you are interested in this, I would encourage you to go and click on the links on our website. Chanel will put the link in the chat, and it really is a fantastic opportunity for a very good value for money loan with very favorable terms. Unfortunately, the prime rate has gone up quite recently, so it is the rate is starting from 9%, which is the current prime rate. But I would encourage you to go and have a look, and if this is something for you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues, for all your contribution this afternoon. Thank you, Kerry, for just helping parents also to see that there are different ways that you can finance or fund this particular program as well. We've reached that stage of the afternoon where we would like to entertain and respond to some questions. I have been keeping my eye on the chat. Like I said earlier on, if you, after this particular session, if there are still questions that are not answered to you, or you might, after the session this afternoon, experience while you are back thinking about today, there's another question popping up, you can contact Charmaine Mitchell on the number as indicated on the slide right there, as well as using the email at info@uvsbed.com, where she will be able to respond to some of your questions. There's a couple of questions that I've picked up in the chat, mostly around, I think Lauren asked about why is the second semester, she's asking, is it remote or in Stellenbosch? So Claire indicated that it is remote, and maybe I would like to explain for just naming convention, it's just semantics. There's a difference between what we call synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. So very often a program or something is online, like we are online now, but we are live. So this is a synchronous session. So what we mean by the classes will be remote but live, it means it will be synchronous. In other words, the participant needs to be in the classroom at the time that the class is happening as well. And so therefore, what Claire also meant, Lauren, when she says, yes, the first semester you have to be physically in Stellenbosch because the classes will be face-to-face in a facilitated, so another way to express that is to say in-person classes. So you have to physically attend a physical room and not an online room. The second semester, though, will be remotely presented. Another way to look at that is to say, learn from wherever you are, even though it's still synchronous. So because you can learn from wherever you are, if you are in Stellenbosch and you have taken accommodation for the entire year, you are welcome to stay there, but you will still have to attend the classes at the time that the class is happening. But for some parents who would rather want their children or their young people to go back to where they're coming from, if they're not from, for example, Cape Town, they might want to use that opportunity and then save on the accommodation costs, but therefore they will still be able to join the classes live as it will be synchronous. Okay, Robin, your question around in Stellenbosch or at the business school, our program will be in Stellenbosch on main campus, in other words. Okay, so we use one of the buildings there, one of the rooms there, so it will be on the main campus in Stellenbosch. There's a question that I think more than one person, and I see Jill, you are asking it right now. What's the reason for not having a full year of face-to-face learning? Since 2020, up till 2020, our program was a fully face-to-face program. With the pandemic, and as a response, we've gone obviously remotely, and we have been listening to our clients and our customers, and some of our clients are asking for more face-to-face sessions. Others are asking for can we keep it remotely, because it makes it more accessible, and the accessibility is not only from I can physically be in class, it doesn't matter where I am, but also sometimes from a financial perspective, and in an attempt to help accommodate all the needs out there, we've gone with the blended approach. And the blended approach that we've decided on for next year is that 95% of the classes where modules are facilitated will be face-to-face, will be facilitated face-to-face or in person. The second semester, a big portion of the second semester is around the presentations, even though there will be some, like I said, about 5% of the modules will still be facilitated in the second semester, but the big part of the second semester is around, as Mark Andre referred to earlier on, around the life plan, around the business plans, where they work in syndicates, and it's just so much easier to sort of create small groups online and have discussions rather than having the actual big classes totally faced remotely at that stage. So just to answer that question, it's an attempt to satisfy many needs out there. And we take and we understand that that's not a perfect fix, but for now, it's our attempt at meeting the many needs that our customers have out there. Okay, good. Let me just see if there are any other questions. You are also free to just raise your hand if there's anything you would like to ask. Some of my colleagues, if there's something that you've picked up that I've missed, please be so kind to just sort of bring it into the conversation. Yes, Mark?
Yes, Kevin, I did repeat it down at the last comment. If you are a participant of the Young Minds program, are you also a fully registered student at Matrics and you have access to all the facilities? Someone asked about sports, there's the library, etc.
Yeah, all right. So as when you are registered on our program, you are not a fully a full student at Stellenbosch University. So you will be able to utilize the sports facilities, but you will not be able to represent Matrics in representative sport. So you'll be able to use the gym, you will be able to access all of those facilities through the private students organization, PSO. During orientation, we have the PSO people come and address you, explain to you how the processes work, what kind of social clubs, etc., is accessible to our students, but you will not be able to represent Matrics in official Matrics colors. Okay. Thanks, Andre.
Kevin, may I just clarify that as well?
Yeah, sure.
So I'd also just like to add that because this is a Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development Program, it means that participants are actually students of USB Ed. So you do not get a Stellenbosch University student card. You are not Stellenbosch University students. So you do enjoy access to limited facilities. You can access the bib, you know, to Kevin's point, you can join the Matrics clubs, but you can't represent Matrics at sports events. And we can also put the link to the PSO, the private student organization, which is obviously private accommodation. You know, they have raises of their own. We can also include a link to that in this chat, and this information is also in our flyer. Okay.
Thank you, Kerry, for that. There was another one that I quickly want to. Cameron, I think it was. Cameron is asking which subjects are used to calculate the average. I think that one. Cameron, if I may quickly just respond to that. When we say average of 55%, we just take your school, your NSC certificate. You know, remember, you get a result statement, and we don't do our own calculation. We take your average that is as per your national senior certificate on your result statement. So I know that if you apply for a degree course, very often life orientation percentage is not part of that calculation to get access into a degree. For our purposes, we take that will be included. That will be your average as per the national senior certificate as well. Okay. 𝗬𝗂𝗎𝗍 is saying, do you have limited space? Yes, we do. And that my response now will also answer the question in terms of how the classes are structured. We can take a maximum of 2 groups of 60 per intake, because our classes, as Mark Andre indicates, they will run from 8:30 till 12:30. So that's the morning slot. But if we have the 2 groups, then the one group will run from 8:30 till 12:30, and the other group runs from 1 o'clock till 4:30 in the afternoon as well. So that is how it will be structured. So in terms of, is the space limited? Yes, so we can accommodate 120 maximum. Sometimes we do get more, and then we'll have to make another plan. but it is a good idea to understand that spaces are quite limited, and therefore, if you are interested, get yourself to at least inquire, get your name on our list ASAP. Samantha, see your hand is raised. You're muted, Sam.
Yes, sorry, I fell for that one. Given there's a question regarding the fees for the PSO, if we can just talk about that, please. If there's an extra cost for the PSO.
So, Sam, since you are there, don't you just want to tell them? I don't have the figure right now because the rate will change. Yeah.
Yeah, the rate will change. There is a fee for the PSO. The rate will change. I think it was something like $350 last year, but I'm not sure. We will have to check and we will have that information for you. And then also you have to pay for your student card. So when you go and get your student card from main campus, there's a cost involved for the student card as well. But we will get that information for you so that you can see what the costs are for those.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Then Daniel Basson, you're asking around, do we accept a foreign matric certificate? So the GED, yes, the GED is the equivalent of an NQF4. So even though the GED is not regarded as the same as the national school, the NSC in South Africa, but since it is an NQF4 qualification, yes, we do accept that as well. Robin is asking, other than academic excellence, what other criteria are looked at for admission to the program? So this is a program for young people. So probably the only other criterion would be whether you're still youth. That is going to be, and I say that tongue in cheek, but we've had requests from people who have been working for a number of years already and was very interested in doing this particular program. We have other programs that can accommodate people like that. But please, if you want to make sure, do I qualify that? Then that is the case. We can accommodate you. Just to say then, we also have participants who come on our programs who are almost in third year in a degree course, but for some other reason, one or other reason needs to have some time out because they're having one subject to complete. So your people will be integrating with or integrated with those kind of participants as well. So yeah, no real other criteria except 55% for matric. I want to answer Melanie's question around how intense is the course. Melanie, we encourage our young people to take on like a temporary job, but the job that they are doing should never interfere with their attendance. We expect of young people to attend at least 90% class attendance. Otherwise, they cannot get their graduate at the end of the course. And all their coaching sessions are compulsory. They must attend 100% of the coaching sessions. Otherwise, they will also get an incomplete. Some of our participants join as they have or would like to improve their matric marks. And so we are quite aware that we have participants like that who comes onto our program in the process of trying to wait until they write, I think in June or what, they rewrite their matric exam. And so we accommodate them as far as possible in that regard. So that is encouraged for them to get busy with other things. And like I said, classes will run on a Monday, a Tuesday, and on a Thursday. We've actually decided this year to keep the Fridays open. So those students who want to do a weekend job have that Friday that they can still do that as well.
Kevin, can I also add to that? A lot of our past participants have actually used the year to improve their grade 12 results. Okay. Yeah. So if I take, for example, our top student a couple of years ago, she was absolutely desperate to get into organizational psychology at SU, and she did not have sufficient maths marks to get in. And so she actually rewrote her grade 12 maths 3 times while doing the Young Minds program. But to Kevin's point, that is absolutely fine as long as it does not impact attendance of the Young Minds program. And there was a question about the recordings. The remote sessions are recorded, but whether it is remote or in person, it still requires 90% attendance. And we are very, very strict on that because there is a degree of flexibility in this program. Okay, so that also speaks to then the responsibility of each individual to maintain their attendance. Kevin, there is a question around, William's asking around how the coaches are selected.
How the coaches?
How the coaches are selected.
Okay, so we have a pool of coaches as part of our coaching pool, and the participant do not get the opportunity to select the coach. The participants are allocated to a coach. So we divide the participants into so that there's a fair distribution, so that the coaches are not overloaded. But we have a cohort of coaches that we use who's very familiar with the program and has been doing that since since the inception of the program. Okay. Maybe just to add, even though we allocate 5 coaching sessions as part of the program, should a participant require extra, they just negotiate that with their designated coach to take it further from there as well. The extra after the 5 would obviously be for own account, but it is an important integral part of our process. Okay.
Kevin, just to extend that, William is asking, can we see the live coaching list and resumes?
We can do that. I don't have it with me right now, but it's certainly something that we can provide you through Charmaine, our client liaison officer as well. Yeah.
Kevin, if I could just quickly address Robin's, or you can, of course, as well.
No, you can go. You can continue.
From an LPF point of view, the journey that I go through with the students as they work through the modules, whether it's operations, economics, finances, neuro leadership, you know, the world opens up to you and you suddenly realize, but I have a talent in marketing, for example. I want to now go and study marketing or do a degree in industrial psychology or even in economics. It really opens up the field so much broader that you are able to decide, this is the area that I know now, that I have a passion and a talent in, and this is what I'm going to do. So there's no prescribed next step that I have to go to University of Stellenbosch and I have to study entrepreneurship. It's open, but at least you'll be much more informed and much more focused on what your interests and your talents are.
Thank you, Mark. I saw that question, and so yeah, thank you for responding to that. Tamara, the coaching sessions since the first semester will be face-to-face. So most of the coaching will then happen face-to-face. But if the participant has not completed all the coaching sessions by the end of the first semester, which I would suspect would happen, the remaining sessions would then happen remotely. But that also depends on the agreement with the coach. If the coach is in Stellenbosch and you are in Stellenbosch, that can be arranged to just do it face-to-face. But the second semester, if the participant is not in Cape Town or in Stellenbosch, then it will probably be remote. Okay. Tristan, you're asking around the qualification of some sort. So the program is designed and pitched at NQF level 6. So you get a certificate of completion, which is a competency certificate, which is from Stellenbosch University as part of this program. So you'll receive a certificate. It doesn't qualify you to apply for any university overseas, but it also doesn't help you to apply with it to any university in South Africa. So it doesn't give you access to a university because that's not the purpose of this program. Okay.
Kevin, can I just add to that?
Yeah.
So if I can just clarify as well that the Young Minds program is not credit bearing for academic programs. It is it's short course credit bearing. So to Kevin's point, it does not, you don't earn credits onto, for example, Stellenbosch University, okay? However, speaking to the question around international applications, so we've had one of our past participants from last year who is using his certificate as well as a reference letter from Kevin as part of his evidence towards his international university application. So it can very, very well serve as evidence as part of an application, but it is not credit bearing, okay? In terms of Stellenbosch University, obviously USP-Ed is part of the university. We have, you know, we're part of the bones of the university. Even though we are a private company, all of our programs are certified by the university. So, you know, by that, we are internationally accredited. So we have the triple crown of international accreditations. So with the business school, and as well as Stellenbosch University. So a certificate from the university does count for quite a bit in terms of the international arena, okay? In terms of Stellenbosch University, so if you were to go from the Young Minds program onto the university, in terms of the admissions office, we know that our Young Minds graduates or our Young Minds alum are different. And to that point, the admissions office really, really like them. So, you know, it stands you in good stead.
I would like to add to what Kerry is saying, that at Stellenbosch universities, there are some faculties, when a participant or a applicant is not admitted into their program for whatever reason, they very often recommend that that participant actually do the Young Minds program as well. So the program is highly esteemed and valued. So there's value in attending the program as well. Just to Mimi's question, Mimi, yes, the program will probably run 2024 and probably 2025. The only thing that I can say for now is it might not run in the same format. It might not always have the same models, because part of our philosophy is to stay relevant and recent. And as the world changes and transition, we need to adjust and transition our program also to be future fit, you know, and fit for purpose. So yes, we will probably run the program unless something major happens, but it might not be in the same format, and there might be some changes to the program. In fact, I was dealing with a participant who did EDP last year and needs to complete some stuff. And when I dealt with the person this morning from Zimbabwe, in the last year, we've made changes to the program and it's not exactly the same anymore. But that's the world that we're working in. So yeah. Then there was a question around psychometrics. I think it was, missed the question now, but I know it is around psychometric assessments for career guidance. I'm not sure if this is appropriate for me to say, but I'm also a clinical psychologist, and in as much as we utilize some psychometrics, psychometrics on its own is not useful just to say, oh, the test indicates this is where you are at. So in as much as we use that, the value lies in the exploration and the conversation that the person has with the coaches assigned and the learning process facilitators who are there. Because it's a process of exploration rather than arriving at a product, rather than arriving at this is what you have to do. And so, yes, there's value in it. And so we do the 16PF, which is the personality questionnaire on our program, and we do the strength finder as on our program. But yeah, I would not be too worried to do much more, because really once you have that as the basis, it is about the exploration around that. Good, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything that I've missed, please feel free to raise your hand. I'm just keeping my eye on the time. We have about 3 minutes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Kevin? Sorry,
Sam?
there's a very important question from Robin. If you could answer that one, please. What if a student decides to skip up after the first semester? What financial implications will there be for him, her, or the guardian? Is the program payable upfront or per semester?
Since you are speaking, Sam, let's go.
Robin, unfortunately, I have very bad news for you. If the students skip up, then they lose the money. So there's
then the student might have to knip.
Yeah, exactly. So and yes, funds are payable upfront. So the full fee must be paid before the start of the program. And yeah, so there's no refunds if they decide to give up. And it's very frustrating when students give up in the middle of the year, because I just think of the parent and that lots of money. So encourage them to complete the program.
But also, like if the student wants to give up because of struggling on the program, there's enough support to help the student get through.
Absolutely.
Like I said, we have coaches that will assist them. We have the learning process facilitator that will assist them, and they have, even though it's not Samantha's role, but she often just have a motherly talk to these kids, sometimes just to help them to get through. So there should be no reason for a participant to. We do understand that sometimes things does go wrong, but as Samantha says, unfortunately, that is the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Even may I mention the most valuable part of this program for any student feeling a little anxious is the fact that you're working in a team, not only the big team, the whole class, but a small team in which you will work almost daily, so that your weaknesses can be compensated for by the next person's strength. So there's that constant support of your teammates as well that will carry you through the program. So I have seen people who've started off saying, I know nothing of finances, I don't like finances, and they are now so confident because they've learned through their team that they can actually work through finances, and they can work through their weaker areas. So I don't think one should be anxious about, oh, I'm not so good at this, that, or the other. That is where your life coach, your LPF, and your teammates step up and carry you as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I am going to have to call it because it's now just 1 minute to go. Samantha, just respond to Sean, who's asking, when does the fee need to be paid, the dates, and then students that complete
the program starts in March, so about 3 weeks before the start of the program, before orientation, we need full payment. We'll probably have, when the flyers go out, there will be a deposit requested, but all that information will be available on the flyer. So we're going to, once you apply, there will be a deposit for the program, 10% of the program fee. And then the rest of the 90% must be paid before the start of the program, which is about 2-3 weeks before the orientation, the parent orientation.
Thank you so much, ladies.
I'll just quickly get Robin's last question in. And there was also a question about the job shadowing. So in terms of, do students continue to tertiary studies? Absolutely. A lot of the young people that come through this program actually start the year thinking they're going to go into tertiary studies and do something, and then they actually finish and they've learned so much about themselves that they actually end up doing something completely different and thriving. So, I would say the majority of the youngsters go on to tertiary studies. We have had some very successful entrepreneurs that have actually formulated their business plans in this program. Our top student in 2015, who is actually a business science dropout in 3rd year, he went on to get picked up at Discovery Health, and he was flown to Silicon Valley, and he is basically now a very successful sort of healthcare entrepreneur that invented a litmus paper for measuring fat content. So it's really quite an incredible program. In terms of the job shadowing, 𝗲𝗓, you had a question about the job shadowing, which I know that Mark did address, but it's important to understand as well that we don't set up the job placements. the job shadowing placements. Absolutely not. That is for the participants to arrange based on what they want to do, what their interests are, what their psychometrics say, based on discussions with their coaches, with Mark's guidance. You know, we are not setting that up. This isn't that kind of a program. This program is around, you know, developing an internal locus of control to move forward. Okay, so that's it.
Thank you.
Sorry,
no
Kevin,
worries.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin. I just need to say one thing though with the applications. When applications open on the website, please complete the email address of the student and not the parent. The parent's information will come in where there's who is responsible for payment, but we need the student's email address upon application, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, colleagues. Lastly, just want to say that in the chat, there's a link where you can go and get first-hand feedback from our past participants. So to the response that Kiri just gave, there is a link right there. You can please go and visit that, and you'll get some first-hand feedback what has happened to some of our participants who's been on the program as well. We thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We're going to have some more sessions. If you are aware of anyone else who might be interested in our program, please be so kind to let them know, and we'll put them on our mailing list and get some invitations out to them for them to join us at our next information session as well. Please enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and if you are at home, watch the traffic in your passage. You know, it gets very busy this time of the afternoon. Have a lovely afternoon then. Take care.